So I did another one of these 1v1 therapy videos. If you haven't seen the last one, I'll leave in the description if I'm not lazy. I Someone invited me to do a podcast later this month or something, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. But I mean, some of you guys like these 1v1 therapy videos. It's just me talking with a friend, Sunset Clips, and we just go back and forth about certain things. This episode I kind of talked a lot, but he said it was fine. I mean, I don't know. Listen, if you guys just want to hear me yap for an hour, well, not the full hour, but you get what I'm saying. So anyway, enjoy.
Hello?
Hello.
There you go.
I mean, how's work? How's the shorty?
She's good. Yesterday was our 10-month anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Like every 12 of like every month we like do something like a little bit special.
Mhm. Are you still going to
But
New York City? We're supposed to. You said we're gonna do a double date. We gotta get that
yo,
going.
hell yeah,
We gotta
bro.
get
Yeah,
that going.
we gotta do that. Shit's about to be a break outside though.
Yeah,
If we
it's
do
cold
it, but
outside now here in New York. It's freezing.
hell yeah.
What's your shorty? Is she the one? Do you think, even though she's pulling the breakup thing a lot, like you say, I'm gonna break up with you over like the most trivial things. Is she the one for you though? Is she gonna? Can you see yourselves? I know it's only been like you said 10 months. Can you see yourself in
Yeah.
a definite future?
I think so. Like we both have improving to do. She does too. Um, I think a lot of it boils down to her missing like home because she's not from like America, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And basically like it's just her aunt and her uncle and her cousins that are here. Like that's her only family. And maybe a couple like distant relatives from her dad's side, like, you know, but like not like her mom or like her sister, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
her dad. So I feel like she just misses home and then her English isn't the best, you know?
Yeah.
Like she feels like she doesn't fit in sometimes.
Mm.
And I think that contributes like a lot to like her problems. And like she has basically, right? Like I'm not gonna throw names, but she has like a sister, like a younger sister. And the younger sister, I think my girl is like 21 and your younger sister is like 18, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But she basically had a kid like mad young, like 16 years old or like 15, some shit like that. And she basically just dipped on the kid.
The little sister.
Yeah, little sister dipped on like her kid. Like,
Jeez.
and like, so I feel like that's like a lot of like pressure like to put on someone, like, you know, because she's like stressed over a kid that's not even hers, which is not like a bad thing. Like, she just loves her niece, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but her mom is like basically trying to take care of her, but there's only so much she can do. Like, she can't be there all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So
That is a
I
tough
just think,
responsibility. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. All I got was that her sister was like kind of hovering around with some guy and like that was it. But yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like that will put like a lot of stress because she's the one that's giving like her niece gifts and like making sure she's good and like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
making sure her mom's good. It's just a lot of stress. Like, you're basically bringing money back home because in a lot of like South American countries, like Venezuela in specific, um, the cost of living's low or whatever, but like their jobs don't pay enough, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas here, like there's more value. Like $40 for them, it's like $500 or some shit like that, bro. It's like something crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot like the exchange rate or like their system, but they'll be fine for like a couple like weeks, bro, off just $40.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. That's
I just feel like oh my bad, bro.
no. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was what's it called? I was just saying that I just feel like there's a lot of pressure with her, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. Have you have you two? I know it's really early, but like, have you two talked about having kids, or like what would be the situation with that? Because I know sometimes people just toy around that topic, even when they're really early into relationships.
Yeah, I we recently got promise rings because we're planning on getting like engaged like sooner or later, like maybe like next year,
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, and moving out and all that. And we talked about having kids, but not to like a like not like an in-depth conversation. But I don't know. Like I don't know what her parenting style is. That's the thing. Like she seems like she'll be a great mother and all that, but like I just want her to do shit that I would agree with. Like, you know,
Yeah. What
like
kind of
I don't believe.
parenting? Sorry.
Oh no, you're good.
What kind
Um,
of parenting style do you have?
I just think like I think you said this in a different video, like with me, but like I don't really believe in like hitting your kids per se because I feel like you don't really like instill like discipline per se. Like they'll listen to you. I just didn't feel like they'll just be scared of you.
Yeah,
And fear is not the same as like having respect for someone, you know?
yeah,
Because you can still be scared of someone and just be sneakier, like you know,
yeah. I
like
I
that's my whole thing.
I said that in I've said that exact philosophy in like a few videos, and some people I like read comments, and some people are mad about that. They'll be like, "Well, sometimes you gotta beat your kid because that's how you get them to respect you." I was like, I'm not sure about that. Like some people, they're very stuck on that tradition. Like they get frustrated with me when I say like I feel like, listen, I'm a grown man. I think I'm more intellectual than a baby, all right, or a toddler or a child. I'll be able to communicate and help them understand what they're doing wrong rather than strike them. Because uh, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, actually, and you know, they work at a preschool, and they were saying that a lot of the 3 year old kids, a lot of kids are usually like 3 or 4 years old. A lot of them, when they're frustrated with somebody or mad with another child, the child will strike the other child, just hit the child. Like, and I was like saying, well, isn't that a sort of learned behavior in a sense? And they're like, well, it can be learned from a parent. Like they'll see their parent strike them, so they'll learn, okay, if they're mad at something, strike them. But sometimes, like children, for example, they they can't communicate well enough to express their frustration. So that's the first thing they'll do impulsively is to just hit something that they don't like. And, hearing that, it's such a juvenile way of dealing with something. We're not 3 year old children, you know? And like you said about your parenting style, it's the same way with me. Like I'm not a 3 year old child. So as a grown man, like if my child is doing something that I don't agree with, that I dislike, I can communicate it with him. That's it. And then when he gets older, he'll realize that's the way I taught him. And personally speaking, I'm getting older and stuff like that, and I haven't really been I haven't really been thinking about much about a family or anything like that. Uh, I'm still, I'm not a fan of kids. I'm not. I'm thinking about getting a vasectomy. Honestly,
What?
yeah, real talk. I'm thinking about it. Like, it's either gonna go two ways. I'm gonna get a vasectomy before I have any kids, and I'll just adopt a kid if I ever change my mind. Oh well, you can't put that thing back, right? I haven't even really done enough research on it, but
I heard
yeah,
what's it called? Like I don't know how true it is, but like I've heard of people like you'll get like a vasectomy, or maybe you won't, and like you'll just like want to have kids later on in life.
hmm
But you know, like how you get older and like your sperm cells are like,
yeah,
like not as effective.
hmm
I heard of people basically like having their sperm stored for them. So like
yeah,
you can have your vasectomy and let's say like you just want to have a kid, like, yo, just take my sperm from like 20 years ago, like,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard that was an option too. Like I think that's what it's gonna do. I mean, that's what it's gonna be. Like I don't know. I'm not interested in like having kids. I'm not a fan of kids at all. Like I feel like, and maybe this is just my impatience, but they're annoying to me. Like I don't know. I don't hate children. They're the future and everything. It's just don't have the tolerance for it. Just don't have it. And again, maybe I'll change my mind once I get older. But I've uh all my exes have been on birth control themselves, not necessarily
Hmm.
pills, but like IUD, for example, next planning. uh I don't know, the pills. I don't think the pills are very good, honestly, because that stuff, they get nauseous. They start bleeding like extremely randomly and stuff like that. I feel that makes me feel really bad, so I don't know. I don't know what you do personally. I don't know if you just pull out, but like, oh, is that what you do? Shaking my
No,
head.
no, chill. She has I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's an IUD. I think it's something different, but it's like not like an injection, but like basically like a plastic rod that like goes into her arm.
Next planning. That's the thing. Next planning.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, she has
Yeah,
that then.
yeah, My ex had that because the pills weren't really working for her. It was messing with her hormones. So, uh, yeah. Well, hey, look, that works too. I mean, at least you're not just pulling out like that, you know,
Oh
because that's how the bad things happen. That's how the bad things happen.
yeah,
But yeah,
dude.
not
I
bring
don't
me to
know.
kids. What? Oh, what do you say?
No, I was gonna say, like, I was gonna ask you, like, you say you're not into kids, which it's understandable. But besides not being into kids, like, besides having the kids and like having to be patient, like, let's say you didn't have to do that, like, you didn't have to be patient, or you know what I mean, whatever. Let's say that wasn't even like a factor. Um, would you still want to have like a family and like a legacy, like when you die, and you know? I don't know if you ever like thought about it.
Yeah. Uh, I don't. I'm not very I'm not very positive about my self image. So I'm just not thinking about it like that yet. Um, maybe the day I am a bit more positive about my self esteem and stuff like that, maybe I'll reconsider that. But you know, haven't really been thinking about it in that case. Honestly, that's just how I feel about it. But I mean, maybe one day I'll be a family man. Just not my
Yeah,
type of thing for now. But uh,
I see.
yeah, I mean, I've had exes talk about not starting a family, but they want to have a family in the future, and I never say no. That's not something I ever like reject. It's just it's got a long road ahead for me. That's all.
Mm. The honesty you have for yourself is good though.
What do you say?
Like the honesty and like the self awareness that you have for yourself, it's a good sign, you know?
Yeah, I mean, see, here's the thing too, about like raising children. I feel like you need to have you need to have your own foundation established. So like you talk about like your girl's little sister, just like abandoning the child like that is wild. Like you gotta like I don't know what her exact reason she gave for that, besides not being responsible, okay? Not wanting to be responsible.
Mm.
But like, yeah, you need a foundation. I'm not gonna if I wanna have kids, I want them to have the best experience. Like all the struggles that I go through, I'm not saying they can't struggle because struggle makes you stronger and makes you better, but
Mm.
I don't want them to deal with certain things that I went through. I'm a very protective person too, so like I feel like that's one of my flaws, but it's one of my like I say it's a flaw to be protective because my protectiveness is overprotective. Like sometimes it's like obnoxious or it's like a little bit too controlling. So, you know, I got to calm that down as well. I could see myself as a very controlling person in terms of like being a parent. Even though I'm kind of laid back about stuff, I could be very like, listen, I don't think that's a good idea. Like instead of just like you exploring certain things, if that makes sense.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. I did
That
say
makes sense.
in one video that I would be the type of parent to like if I see if there's if there's children on a swing going back and forth, and you know not to walk in front of that, but you still walk in front of it, like, and you get smacked in the face because of the swings, you're gonna realize like, okay, I shouldn't walk in front of swings. I shouldn't walk in front of moving objects because it's gonna hurt. And that's how you teach yourself through experience. But like that smack in the face is such a terrible experience and a terrible feeling, you know, like just
Mm.
you make mistakes, and that feeling of making mistakes is just so uh painful sometimes. And yeah, I don't know if I would stop my child from walking in front of the swing per se, and I think that could be a flaw of mine. You know, he's not going to learn on his own, but I have to be there to like be controlling about it. I don't know. Parenting is hard.
That's true. It is. I I had like this problem with my mom where my mom was very overprotective of me, like as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're so overprotective over someone, it kind of affects your self development, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of trying to protect someone from the world, you should show them how to deal with the world. That's just my philosophy for parenting, you know?
That makes a lot of sense.
Because it's just only a matter of time until you can't protect them anymore and they're defenseless, you know?
Yeah.
So, Ian, that's just how I feel. Like you were saying, like learning through experience and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I think there's like a line you don't like cross with it, but you definitely have to let people get hurt in order for them to learn at some points, you know? Because that's the best like teacher, pain.
Yeah.
But I agree with. Go ahead, bro. My
No,
bad.
no, go, no, go. You go. Sorry, I've been talking long.
Uh, no, you're good. I was just listening to a lot of things you were saying, but I just feel like if you teach like someone how to deal with the world and like how to navigate through things, it's more beneficial, you know? You have to give them the tools to actually deal with it, and not try to do it themselves. Like there is that saying, like I think you've heard of it. It's a common saying, but like, you know, there's like a farmer or like a fisher or whatever, and it's better for someone to teach him how to fish than just to give him the fish, you know?
Hmm.
So that's just my philosophy. I don't know what you think about it, if it's good or, you know?
Uh, I feel like so. What you're talking about, how like your mom was like very protective over you. Uh, my father is very protective over me, and it actually I think it contributed to why we don't get along, because I think I learned inherited from my dad, because my dad is very controlling. He's very controlling as a person, and it's so bad that my mother and I, we get very frustrated, and we may not get along with my father, because that's just how he is. And I understand his intentions are good, but you cross the line sometimes, you know? Like, I understand you want the best, but, you know, the way you're doing it is making me very unhappy. It's stressing me out. My mom is stressing her out. And uh, I feel like, you know, sometimes you're right. You have to give people the tools, but some people, they don't know how to use the tools, which is another issue. Sometimes you give the tools and just say, "Hey, figure it out," and that may not always work out for certain people, because everybody learns differently. And my mom's philosophy of parenting, I guess it was more or less like, she always told me like, Andre, just go out there, go explore, go. You have the opportunities. Do this, do that. And I never really took them. You know, I think the only
Mm,
time I actually took opportunities was when I did the modeling thing. That was something I went out my way to do that. I just got out of a relationship, and I was like really upset. And I just remember my old coworker was telling me like, "You could be a model. You could be a model." And he was just like joking about it. But I'm not even. By the way, I'm 6'2". I know a lot of people like, that's tall. In modeling, that's short. I was one of the shorter guys.
mm,
Yeah, and it actually prevented me from getting certain gigs. It stopped me from getting to certain agencies as well. I'm too short, apparently. For somehow being 6'2" is too short. But like, you know, I still went out there, I still explored, and then I learned so much from that. And my mom is right. You got to go out there and you got to explore and you got to take opportunities. That's how you're going to learn certain things. And but that sort of counteracts my current personality and my behavior as well, because I'm. Did you sneeze? Bless you.
oh yeah, I just I coughed. My
Oh,
bad.
okay, no, it's okay. So, uh, yeah, I'm like the complete opposite type of person though. Like I don't like talking to people. I don't like socializing. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go to certain things. Like I like staying at home. I like being on my computer. I like bed rotting, honestly. But you know, this is things that you learn though. So you know, my both my parents have a different parenting style, so it does conflict with me if I were to have a child. And like, I don't know how it would necessarily work. I just got to work on my own uh possessiveness and controllingness, because it obviously hurts me when people do it to me. So like, I shouldn't be doing it to somebody else, especially if it's my own child. The day I decide to ever have a child, so that's how I know. Like, even with that, like you said, talk about how I know my boundaries, and I know I'm self-aware of like what I can't do. I got to work on that before I even think about having a child. So
Mm. That's it's understandable. You gotta know what you more about yourself, you know?
hmm
But I feel like that's life. We're just doing it as we go. We're just learning something new every day. We're growing.
hmm
Without growth, there's like no point. If we all have everything figured out, then I feel like there's no point to anything.
hmm yeah, there's a go ahead.
No, my bad. I was gonna tell you like a conversation I had with my girl today. Like,
Go ahead.
I don't know. I be like realizing shit, bro. Like, I had this thought a few times, but decided to talk to my girl about it, and I was like to her, like, it's crazy that we could have been anything else in the world. You know, we could have been an ant or like some sort of bug or like a different animal. We could have been a lion. We could have been, you know, a worm in the grounds,
Mm-hmm.
and still that 1 in a trillion chance of being a human, we're a human. Like, I feel like it's crazy. Like, we do things that no one else can ever do. We can like choose what car we want. We can choose which school we want to go to. We can choose which job we have. We can
Mm-hmm.
choose what we want to wear, what we want to eat. Like, most animals can't even choose what they want to eat. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Do you think? Well, I you said you're Muslim, correct?
Hmm.
Uh, so what is your philosophy necessarily on how we were put on this planet? Do you think like the creation theory? I know Islam has a specific creation theory, but you know other religions have it on a twisted narrative. Where do you think we just evolved per se, or do you think that we were necessarily created, or you know something more biblical per se?
It's a good question. It's hard to say for sure because we weren't alive back then. But I mean, evolution makes sense scientifically, and even in the Quran, there's a lot of like verses that are very like scientific, like how like a woman gets pregnant, for example. Like that's one of them, or even like the Islamic calendars and like the math and stuff all comes from the Quran, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I maybe like I feel like personally like evolution maybe, but the religious is kind of different. But we don't know for sure, you know.
I don't know if it's a mixture of I had a theory where I feel like we evolved through just evolution, which a lot of people don't think makes sense. You know, a lot of people don't believe in evolution, but that I personally believe in it. I think evolution happened, and I think there was a time period where this is where all these esoteric and these powerful scriptures ended up coming from, where they talk about beings or these giants, which people interpret in some scriptures as angels per se. But
Hmm.
or you could just say if you want to be that type of guy, you could say they were aliens. I don't know. All right. But I do believe that we went through evolution, and I think that something may have visited us and may have taught us certain things, because the even like the older civilizations like the Sumerians, for example, the Sumerians always said that there were these beings that came from the sky and taught them agriculture. They taught them how to build a plumbing system. They taught them how to write. And that's a civilization from like 4000 BC saying stuff like that. One of the earliest. So I'm not sure how I feel about the whole Adam and Eve story. Uh, I really don't. It just doesn't really make sense to me, honestly. I think it adds a good religious framework to explain something that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, which I feel like a lot of religious scriptures do. But you know, when I think of the Adam and Eve creation story or creation theory, I think of like the symbolism of humanity's relationship with God. We talk about free will, right? The forbidden fruit. We talk about moral responsibility, and it also explains the beginning of sin. I know in Islam they call it something else. Do you know the word? They don't say sin. They say something else.
Haram.
Yes, haram. Yes, thank you. Like the Adam and Eve story, it explains the origins of sin, haram, and also even just a story of redemption. Because now that we live in a world full of sin, we have to redeem ourselves to enter paradise, per se, or to be. I mean, they say God always accepts you, but you know what I mean about going to the next level or going to heaven, per se. So You know, that's why I think that's how I look at the Adam and Eve creation theory and that story. I see it as something as a spiritual meaning, as a something esoteric, but I don't think something like that really happened. uh, but hey, you know, some people they take it literally. Some people feel like that's the case. I don't know. I like the
Mm.
idea of genetics. I like the idea of evolution. I like the idea of maybe something uh, more intelligent coming to Earth and teaching us certain things and introducing laws. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Do you would that make sense to you, like about like put I hate calling it aliens, but let's say extraterrestrial. It's the same thing. Would you say like do you think other beings came to Earth and may have influenced society's growth?
Possibility. I mean, we don't know everything, you know? Mm. I feel like sometimes we don't even know what we don't know, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be possible.
Hmm.
I can't say like it can't be. Like I feel like anything can be possible at this point. There's
Yeah.
so much shit we don't know that it could all be a possibility. Like I've always like had this thought as a kid where like as a little kid, like I swear at like 5 years old, I felt like I was like in some sort of like video game, even though I didn't know what video games were, you know? But like some sort of like simulation, kind of like the Matrix, bro. That's my best explanation. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
where like we're wired up to something and like what we're experiencing is something that's like not real and it's just all in our mind. And then I feel like we'll just wake up and be in the real world, like the Matrix, like you know, like the little ship or whatever, like reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like this isn't real sometimes, you know, life isn't real.
Hmm.
That sounds like really like suicidal or some shit, but I swear I'm not. But you ever have like those feelings where like just reality isn't real, like shit's just happening crazy, like you know?
It happens when I'm lightheaded, but uh, yeah, like we live in a simulation per se, right? Uh,
Type shit, like basically.
yeah. Uh, I'm not sure. I feel like we live. I wouldn't say. I think we're not in a simulation like how it's perceived in like science fiction movies. I would say we live in a simulation right now in terms of how what's the word? How subconscious we could be to or unaware we could be to how I can't find the words to how to describe this. I feel like we're on autopilot a lot. I feel like a lot of people are on autopilot where it almost feels like we're just programmed. We're pre-programmed and we are in a matrix because the programming is too deep for a lot of us and we can't break out of certain things because of it. Like we were talking about earlier about parenting and how we have certain habits. But, you know, some people as they get older, they don't really get self-aware of their own problems and they get stuck in the same programming that they started off in. You know, like certain people, you know, you grow up in a religious household and all you were introduced to was a specific religion that some people they don't break out of it. And listen, sometimes you may need a certain religion. I'm not saying it's bad to be religious or anything like that, but at times certain people don't really have the capability to think outside the box or
Mhm.
see other religions in their perspective on life. It's like it has to be this way or the highway because that's the way I was taught, you know? Like I grew up a certain way, I was taught a certain way. I was told this is what's right to do based off of societal standards and I can't break out of that thought bubble. I feel like that's a simulation
Yeah,
in a sense. That's that programming. And that's where life almost doesn't feel real in my opinion. It's very
no, for
saddening.
real.
It's very saddening. I think a lot of people are stuck in a weird reality right now, and I'm also stuck in it as well. I mean, we're all stuck in this little world right now. Uh, this we all have our own programming, our own. We're all stuck in the matrix in a sense, but you can debate whether that's a good thing or not, because once you try to break out of the matrix and try to be a complete free thinker, sometimes you get a little bit schizo. You get a little bit crazy. And you get too convinced of things that don't really make any sense. Like, this is how, I'm not saying being a conspiracy theorist is bad, but sometimes when you are a conspiracy theorist and you are very vulnerable and gullible to a lot of information that isn't really proven, but you're just eating it up because, like, you don't want to be a sheep, you don't want to be in the matrix, you don't want to be programmed like everyone else, it can drive you crazy. Oh,
Yeah, I agree with that. All this stuff though, like it gives me so much anxiety. I'm gonna be honest with you.
existential anxiety per se, right?
Yeah, like I just feel like anxious. Like damn, like I'm thinking way too much about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
like when I start thinking about like if things are real, if we live in a simulation, I start to think about like my life and like what happens when you die, or like you know what I mean. Like
Mm-hmm.
what's the point of living? Sometimes, you know.
Some people don't feel like there's even a reason. Some people just feel like, the life doesn't have any purpose, and you just gotta. It's like every man for themselves, pretty much. Or we gotta do what we have to do to survive. I always felt like the universe and just life itself is chaotic, but what we did, we civilized it. We tried to create
Hmm.
harmony out of it. Like, that's the best way I can think about it. Uh, I listen. I mean, if you want to talk about
Okay.
like things being like we're in a matrix again or a simulation, I mean, there's things like deja vu, right? Or
Hmm.
sometimes we have we can't distinguish dreams from real life. Sometimes that's questionable. We don't really even understand dreams completely, which is a very scary thing. Um, there's just a lot of things going on with certain things like that. But in terms of, if I could put it in the most rational sense, in my opinion, if I don't want to put any matrix argument, again, I feel like the world is just chaos, and we just made order out of it, and we try to harmonize it the best we can. But obviously, nothing's perfect. I don't think we can ever completely harmonize the planet. But
That's true.
yeah, I mean,
Depressing. Goddamn.
it is depressing. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think we always joke about, like, as kids, like, happy birthday, what do you pray for? I pray for world peace. Listen, that ain't happening. That's just
Hmm.
not happening. It's just not happening. It's sad.
That's true.
It's really sad. Um, and some people but that's the good thing about having faith. That's the good thing about subscribing to a religion. I know it's a coping mechanism if you want to be technical. Like, okay, we don't know what happens when we die, so let's put ourselves in a situation where we know what happens when we die. We go to a better place than this place, because I think biblical scholars, it doesn't really say this in the Bible per se, but biblical scholars will say that earth is hell, and the objective of being on earth is to escape hell. Or I think in Gnosticism as well, they talk about like the demiurge. Like, once you die, your soul is trapped in the earth still, in this like plane of existence, and
Hmm.
you just rejoin the earth as whatever. You get like reincarnated or come back. Like you just keep, every time you die on this planet, you just come back as another human being, and you just live life over and over and over and over and over again. Like that's a theory too, which is, I think, is more depressing. But
Oh yeah. No.
uh, yeah, I mean, we could cope about certain things, but I don't think it completely makes everything better. But it works for some
That's
people,
true.
so I'm not gonna. I can't knock people for having faith. I can't knock people for having religion. That's why I'm very a little bit concerned about atheists. I'm not saying atheists are like bad people or evil people, but the thing about certain atheists is that I feel like sometimes they can be unpredictable, because I don't know what kind of rule set they live by. I know the Bible and other religious scriptures can be very extreme with their rule sets, right? And many people don't even follow it to begin with, right? But sometimes someone who doesn't have faith or someone who doesn't have any sort of like purpose. I'm not saying atheists don't have a purpose to live, but but that can commonly be found with somebody who doesn't have faith. They don't feel like life has any purpose. So they may do things that can be unpredictable. And just to emphasize again, not all atheists are like that. I'm just saying. It's very much possible. True. So it is a depressing conversation, but
yeah, I don't know. It just makes me like have more questions than answers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let me think.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, I was like thinking of something because I had a question to ask you, but I kind of forgot what I wanted to ask. Like, I hate when this happens, dude.
Sorry, I was yapping too much.
Nah, you're good. No, I was just like listening, like about what you're saying, because you have like a very I don't know, your storytelling like skills are very good.
I don't really.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I feel like I stutter a lot. I'm not a great speaker, so it's easy for me to talk on a camera, or like behind a microphone. But sometimes I don't think I'm a very great speaker. Otherwise, like I stutter a lot and stuff. But you know, listen, you could say hypothetically we're on hell on earth. That's all I could say. I mean, human beings are very. We have a lot of greed. We can be very aggressive, especially when it comes to power, especially when it comes to conflict. Even though we can cooperate with one another, we our natural instincts of survival of the fittest, which is why I kind of rock with the evolution idea. We kind of have this like survival of the fittest idea. Our natural instincts can hinder our ability for long-term peace. And sometimes we have moments where this is just adding on to why I don't think world peace can ever be a thing. When we have different nations and we have different groups and we have just people in general competing for territory or just political ideas or even economic stuff. Like we're talking about that guy who took out the CEO for the insurance thing, the healthcare thing. Like people, this is how things lead to conflict. You know, some people, they have so much greed, they have so much power, and there's a lot of resource scarcity. And it makes people very frustrated, and we're never gonna get peace because of it. There's always gonna be unequal power structures in this world. And here's the thing about this. Weaker groups are always gonna try to resist those who are more dominant. It's just always gonna be the case. Like, you know, and you see this historically too. Whenever a country is under some sort of like I don't know the exact word. It's not popping into my head right now. But when another nation controls another nation, or when another group overpowers another group, there's usually a rebellion going on. There's somebody's going to rebel eventually, or the government's going to get overthrown eventually. It's a never-ending cycle. It's a never-ending cycle of peace and conflict, and you can't win. You can't win with this stuff at the end of the day. So,
yeah, that's true. That's just depressing. God damn.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But it's not like a bad thing. Like, damn.
Well, here's something positive I could say, I guess, right? Even though I said what I said about humans and how, you know, we have our own power struggles, power dynamic issues. We have issues with historical cycles of doing things over and over again. We have instincts of fear, aggression, and so forth, and dividing interests. We also can find purpose in life through love, community, relationships, helping others, you know. That can bring you a purpose into it. And it's funny because that has nothing to do with religion. It can be part of religion because community, like I mentioned, community, religion can play a part with community. And once you're part of the community, you can learn how to do the other things like love and help others. But You don't necessarily need to be part of the community to help others. You don't necessarily be part of the community to love others or be in relationships. So, uh, that could be a purpose to life. And when we talk about religion, uh, you mentioned how it's interesting that we're humans and we have the blessings that we have and the gifts that we have. Some people feel like that has been given to us through a divine intention. Like we have a divine purpose as human beings. That's why we're so gifted and we have all these things. Now, in my opinion, with that, I feel like human beings think they're the center of the universe. Okay. I think we have a little bit of a ego with that. We're kind of arrogant with that. We feel like we're more important than everything else in the universe. And that's why human beings like colonizing other people and doing crazy stuff like that and trying to take over other planets and stuff. But listen, whatever. But, because we feel that we are gifted as human beings, as a race, you may feel that your religious beliefs give you purpose in life. And that's the beauty of religion. I know Islam is very much into serving a higher power. A lot of people, I'm not saying all Christians do this, but a lot of people, they're Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in God, but they don't do anything about it.
That's true.
So, some people, and people live two different lives. They'll go to church and they'll be all about positivities, loving one another. The moment they step out of the church, completely different person. They don't live the same life that they live inside church in the real world. Now that's a problem. And that's where people aren't being true to their faith. If you really want to find purpose in your life and it wants to be about religion because that's what you believe in, that's what you're stuck with. You should always try to attain or walk around or be looking for spiritual enlightenment. And if you always want to serve a higher power, you always got to respect other people like how you respect people at your church, at your mosque, at your synagogue. And what that does, it prepares you, religiously speaking, because, it prepares you for the afterlife, for that paradise. Because that's what, however you wish to call God, that's how God would want you to live. So another purpose to life. So see, there's many beautiful things to it, but there's also, again, not everybody feels like life has purpose with that. If they don't find purpose in human connection, if they don't find purpose in religious beliefs, you could also go with what certain philosophers would say, that there's no inherent purpose in life. And really, it's up to each individual to create their own choices and actions. I mean, that's cool too. Nothing wrong with that either. I just wish certain people weren't so unpredictable with it. Oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's really at the end of the day how we define ourselves and what you want to shape your life, your passions and your goals and your personal experiences by. A lot of us, including myself, like what I was saying earlier when we first started talking, I don't really have a lot of confidence as a person. I'm not very strong within myself, but self-determination is something that builds over time. And some people are just born to deal with it better than others. Everyone has different experiences. And that could just be another purpose to life. Achieve as many passions and goals and personal experiences as you can.
That's a very good point. I mean, that could be the purpose, just be all we can do,
Mm-hmm.
I just always view it as just like having like a legacy, I guess, like just something bigger than yourself,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just crazy. Like I was viewing shit on life and like, like how you had your girlfriends and like all this shit happened to you, like your modeling gig, like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like let's say one of your interests did something different with your life, bro. It would have not happened,
Yeah.
Or if someone stepped the wrong way, like so much shit could have been different. Just like the smallest minute details could have made your life completely different. And I feel like that's just crazy if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And even just someone's life that isn't even connected to yours, like, someone you don't know could hit someone that you do know on the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
and it affects you at the end. Like, I don't know. I just find life very interesting. Like, it's all very intricate, and like my life is just as complicated as other people's lives, and so for you, and everyone. It's just crazy to think about at points. I don't know if that makes any sense though.
It does. It does. Uh, how can I add to that? So, I know in a lot of dharmic religions, like I know in Buddhism, for example, when you talk about how like certain things could have changed out the whole direction of my life and direction of your life and direction of many other people's lives, uh, in Buddhism, they talk about how your destiny and where you end up at isn't predetermined yet. One little mistake and one little move that you make, somebody could just stop your whole progress. But
Mm,
what this means, though, is that you are shaped by your own intentions, your own thoughts, and your own actions. So, if you feel like you can't control your destiny, or you feel like your destiny can be swayed very easily, you can empower yourself to change the future by avoiding harmful actions. So, uh, I think that's a good way to look at it as well. Yeah,
I'd
a
see
lot of
that.
things could have changed in my life. You know, a lot of different things could have happened. I did acting too. Like I bailed out on that one though. You know,
Mm,
but getting into both of that stuff, even just doing YouTube videos, I have to do this is on my own intentions, on my own actions and thoughts. Like I wasn't. It's not predetermined for me for this to happen. I'm setting my own future and I'm making my own destiny. And if I just sit around and I don't do anything, I don't shape my destiny. There's a I made a video a long time ago about how everything in the universe is interconnected, and that's another dharmic religion type of belief system where life is seen as life is shaped by a bunch of cause and effect moments, rather than life be something that we think is just boom, it's fixed. We're screwed from the beginning. Technically, certain people don't have as many blessings as others, but your outcomes and your future is very dynamic, but it's based on your interactions between your past and your present choices. And I think it's just important to understand that we have to be very mindful of what we choose to do. And once we think more about our actions and we could be a little bit more disciplined with ourselves and have more understanding, maybe we could actually have a better future and not worry too much about the meaning of life. And we could not worry about how quickly our lives could be different than how it is. Everything we did it may have come from something that we I guess thought of per se. I don't know if that's a good way to end that one, but
it sounds good. I like your thought process. Like it's very unique.
I mean that's how I look at it. At least we should try not to always be ignorant about certain things. I don't think so going back to Buddhism, I don't think that life is ever something that we can. I was talking about the demiurge thing and
Mm,
Gnosticism, how like once you die, you just get stuck in this soul net and you just come back to Earth and you're stuck here and you're trapped in this world, which is this world is not positive. It's a very negative place. We just have moments of joy, but this world is very negative. Unfortunately, a lot of terrible things are happening in the world. Luckily, I know I was talking a little bit trash about the United States and the healthcare system and stuff like that, but thank God
Yeah.
I live in America. Okay, for real, like for real, bro. Like I rather live here than in many other countries in the world where there are terrible things going on, and there's not as much access to the things that we get to enjoy here. I know it's bad that we get to have this junk food that destroys our body and stuff, but that food tastes good. I had Chipotle today. I had the veggie bowl. Like, yeah. I know Chipotle. People say Chipotle is good, but man, they don't got Chipotle in certain countries. Like I have money to buy Chipotle. But at the end, what I'm trying to get to here is that, like in Buddhism, what they believe is that the world is just endless suffering. You're just gonna keep getting reborn. That's it. Once you die, you just come back. You may come back as, like what you said, like a caterpillar or a horse or a snake or something like that. But you keep coming back over and over and over and over again. They call it the endless suffering wheel. Just endless suffering. But once you learn liberation, once you learn how to become enlightened, and you don't choose to be ignorant, and this is not just Buddhism, because they talk about this in the Bible too. In oh man, I don't even remember what verse this is. They were talking about I think in the book of Acts, they're like, in the past, God didn't look at ignorance, but he commands all people to repent, something like that. And it basically means that ignorance may be forgiven because you always get a chance, but individuals always grow from understanding and repenting. Not trying to be all Christian and stuff like that here, because I'm not Christian, but I'm repenting in terms of like, hey, listen, I screwed up. I did some bad things. You don't have to be religious to repent. Okay, I did some bad things. I screwed up. I want to change my life around, and that's becoming more enlightened. And eventually, in Buddhism at least, once you are awakened enough and you are enlightened enough, that's when you're able to enter the next place, which a lot of people's favorite band, Nirvana. You go to the next world.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, many interesting ways to look at life and to interpret life. At least from my experience, I agree with you. I think life is very depressing. I think our existence is very sad. But we have to make it what we make it, and that's why, even though I talk about in my videos how like I go through a lot of things mentally, I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't taken my life. I think about it a lot. I'm not. I don't want to get into too much in the details. Two days ago, sorry if I'm yapping too much, by the way.
You're good, bro. I'm just listening, honestly.
Okay. 2 days ago, it was raining like crazy here in New York. It was a windy storm. It was raining like crazy. I don't know if it was raining where you live at. But it was raining like crazy. And I drove an hour and 45 minutes to some place to do a speech. I rehearsed the speech for weeks. I go to do the speech, I mess up. I drive 1 hour 45 minutes in the rain. I could have crashed my car at any moment because the traffic was bad, the rain was bad, the roads were slippery. I drove all the way out there. Here I go, just messing up the speech. And I felt like a clown. Like I did it perfectly 20 million times, the speech, word for word. And then when I'm driving home back in the rain for another hour and 45 minutes, I'm just sitting there feeling like a bozo. And my thoughts started consuming me. Man, I have a little bit of a perfectionist complex, which I got to deal with myself. I got to get better at that. Sometimes I just got to be perfect with certain things. I'm very hard on myself with a lot of things. So I'm just like thinking very negative and like wishing bad things upon me as I'm like driving home. But I never feel the need to push myself to the next step of that, because life is life is what you make it. You know, I made a mistake, but you know, just like I was mentioning about just a moment ago about that Bible verse, you know, things you make mistakes, you can be forgiven. Okay, you know what the ignorant part of that was? I had anxiety. Okay, you know what? That's I'm human. I had anxiety, all right? I got to build on that. But I can be forgiven for that. I got to forgive myself for that. But I grow once I have understanding and repentance for it. So clearly I don't have an issue remembering stuff or doing speeches. It's just the part where the anxiety, and I got to grow from it. So, I see. It's just how you make it. It's how you think of certain things rather than just trying to think. You know, life has no intrinsic purpose or value, or you know, anything of the
That's
sort.
understandable.
Yeah. No,
My bad, bro.
it's okay.
I haven't like slept all like for like a couple of days and stuff, bro. I don't know what's up with me. Like I have like the worst sleep habits, dude.
It's okay. I mean, do you want to get off? I mean, it has been an hour, but I could keep hanging out if you want.
Um, are you free like a little bit later today, like in like a couple hours, or are you gonna be like busy still?
If you want
Like,
to sleep longer, you can. I have to be somewhere tomorrow and Sunday, and Monday. See, I'm gonna be busy. Like, yeah, I have like things going on all from tomorrow all the way to next Saturday. I actually no, I'm free on Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
I see.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday could work if you want. I'll check my schedule and I'll run it by you if you want.
Uh, sure, we could do that.
All right. Well, safety, Andre.
Uh, it's fun talking to you.
Yeah, bro. I like your like outlook on things, right? Like your thought process is very unique compared to most people.
I just think I just think too much about stuff.
But it's a good thing. There's some people that don't think enough, you know?
Uh, since
I like
you're
you retarded people.
since you're tired, I mean, is it okay if we count this as an episode?
Yeah, definitely, bro.
Okay,
Appreciate you like for having the time to speak to me and everything. Like,
no
I'm like
problem.
really grateful.
No problem. Dude. Alrighty.
Also, about New York, bro.
Yeah, talk to me.
I'll definitely like run it by you, of course.
Would you be available next Tuesday for that though? With that.
Let me. It's not just me; it's my girl, and we have to
Okay.
check her schedules because we don't. Yeah, we don't have the same schedule, you know.
Oh, so I'm free Friday too. I'm on the 20th. I'm free.
Friday and Tuesday. I'm gonna look on her schedules because I have to see her app and see like what day she has off and stuff, and she doesn't have anything planned.
Mm-hmm.
But Tuesday and Friday, I'm gonna keep those days listed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so I can see if we're both off and if I could just call out or swap with someone if I'm not off.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll definitely let you know, bro.
All right. Cool. All right. Again, nice talking to you. Keep in touch, and
Of course.
get some rest.
Thank you, Andre.
All right.
Safety, bro.
Later, bro.
Nightmare 7 a.m. in the morning though. No surprise. Times Square's you and I under those lights. No disguise. Don't tell me everything you wanted was a lie. All those city lights, it's an endless night. Never expected you to bring me so much life. Close my eyes too long, then it's time to say goodbye. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Caution. Wait a moment, keep my heart locked away, it's filled with emotion. Gave the key to you, right in front of you is open. Hey, try your best to not leave it broken. Oh, it's been a while since you know